Hello, geometry students. What is up? This is Mrs. Taylor. I have one lesson to teach you this week, which is surface areas of prisms and cylinders. Okay, so the surface area of prisms and cylinders, you should learn in 8th grade. So hopefully this is a review and you remember what you did. So the formula that we're going to use today, for at least our first 4 examples, will be the surface area of a prism. All right, so here we got to do math before we can even use the formula. So we have to worry about the perimeter, which is the sum of all the sides. We got to worry about big B. So big B is not just a number, it's actually math. It's the area of the base. So the area of my base could be whatever my base is. So, because it could be a triangle, it could be a trapezoid, it could be like this one's a pentagon. So how do you know what the base is? The base is always, other than a rectangular prism, it's always the shape that's different from the rectangular faces, because a prism needs to have rectangular faces. So this is a pentagonal prism, so therefore the pentagon at the bottom is the base. So let's look at our first example. Our first example is a rectangular prism. You could choose the 612 one as a base, because it is, but with a rectangular prism, it doesn't matter what you choose. It's all the same. So I am going to choose this bad boy in the front as my base, because if I was to set it up, I would think that's the way the base would be. And so hence going along this way is the height. And we'll talk about how you can not, so you won't mess up the height when you're doing your math. All right, let's go for it. Okay, so the first thing we need in the formula is the perimeter. That means that's the sum of all the sides. And I decided to choose this front face as my perimeter. So that means I have to add the sides going all the way around. So that's 4 6s, which makes my perimeter 24. So I have to remember that because I'm going to have to plug it into this formula right here. So let's go. Now we need big B. So big B is the area of the base. Well, I chose a base that's a square. Well, that's the same as length times width. It's just the same 6 times 6. So my base is 6 times 6, so that's 36. So I'm going to have to use that right there. So now I think I almost have everything except for that H. I need that height. So what's the one number we have not used yet? That's right, the 12. If I was to stand the prism up on top of the base that I chose, that would be the height of my prism, which is 12. So now we know U. So we have every possible number that we can plug into our formula. All right, so let's plug it in. So we had the 24 for the perimeter, 12 for the height. That 2 is a part of the formula, so it's going to stay there. And we have 36 that we got for B. So we multiply each one. And it's out of order, but hey, that's okay. So 24 times 12 is 288, and 2 times 36 is 72. And that's how we get the 360. I would suggest if you're using that calculator like on your phone, you want to do order operations. It's just multiply, multiply, and then add. So that's your answer. All right, let's try one. You try this one yourself and see if you can do it. Okay, so now, hopefully you tried it and paused the video and got it right. So let's try it. So first thing we need, again, is the perimeter. This time, I'm going to choose the base at the bottom. If you're asking me, does it matter what you choose as a base? No, it doesn't. You just have to do it correctly. So I'm choosing that. So first thing, I have to walk all the way around. So if this is 6, this is 7. If I walk around, that's 6, that's 7. They're letting me know that that's 6 and 7 around this, because the bottom base has to have the same dimension as the top base. So I'm going to add 6 plus 7, 6 plus 7, which walks around the bottom base. I get 26. So that 26 is going to go where the P is. Now B is the area of the base. Well, we have a rectangle, so that's length times width. Easy to do. 6 times 7, we get 42. So U42 is going to go where the B is. And so the last thing we need is the height. What's the one number that we have not used? The 11. The 11 is your height. It's the height of the prism. So I'm going to take the 11, like, I got you. I have all the numbers that I need now to actually do my math. So I'm going to write the formula out, and I'm going to plug in all my numbers. There goes the 26 for the perimeter, 11 for the height, the 2 is already there, and then B is 42. So I'm going to multiply them individually. 26 times 11, 2 times 42, and then I'm going to add, and I get my answer. Okay, so that is area of rectangular prisms. Let's try triangles. The only thing different that's going to change is that area of that base, because we can't use length times width because it's a triangle. So we're going to have to use 1/2 base times height. So sometimes triangles are the one. If you're going to get a problem wrong, I would say if we were in class, most students get the triangular prism wrong. They just mix up numbers, so pay attention on this one. All right, so we still use the exact same formula. So we need the perimeter of our base. And remember, this is called a triangular prism. So the triangle has to be our base. So we have a triangle at the top and bottom. Well, let's look at the top one. It doesn't matter. It's going to be the same as the bottom. So if I walk around, I get 8 plus the 3 plus, oh, how much is this? Oh, there's that 9 right there. So the perimeter walking around my triangle is 3 plus 8 plus 9. So I get 20. So I'm done with my perimeter. Let's talk about the area of the base. So I still got to stick with that triangle. But the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Well, let's look just at the numbers of the triangle. So we know we have 8, 3, 9. What is that right here? That 2.6 inch. Remember, the height of a triangle must be perpendicular or make a right angle with the base. So that little number right there is what I got to use in my triangle formula. And that 9 is perpendicular to it, so I have to use that. So 1/2 times 2.6 times 9, and I get 11.7. All right, so I'm through with B. Now, what is the one number we haven't used? We haven't used that 6. In fact, I'm going to use a color. That 6, he will be the height that I have to use actually in the formula. So there's 2 sets of height. It's the height of a flat triangle, but then there's a height of the actual prism, and you have to keep them separate. So let's plug in everything. So perimeter was 20, check, we got that right there. The 6 is the height of the actual prism. That 2 has to be there. It's a part of the formula. And the 11.7 is what I put there. And so now I'm multiplying them individually, and then I add them. And that's how I get the triangular prism. All right, so the last thing we have to do is a cylinder. And the cylinder actually is the easiest one to do. It's not hard at all. Oh, we have another example for the triangular prism. Sorry, let's knock this out. So again, let's walk around, let's find the perimeter and walk around the triangle. Forgot I had another one. So I can do that same thing on the bottom. So what are my numbers that represent that triangle walking around? 6, 8, and 10, definitely. So I have my perimeter done. That's the 24, and that's going to go right there. Now let's do that area of the base. Remember, it is a triangle, so I cannot just use length times width. I have to do 1/2 base times height. So 1/2 times 8 times 6, I get 24 again. Just look. So this 24 represents my B. Let's change that color for our height. So what's the one number I haven't used yet? There you are. That's the height. Now I'm going to substitute. I multiply them individually and then add, and I get 312. So there you go. Let's do our last 2, which is our cylinder. So the cylinder has a different formula that we're going to use. And it's easy because then you don't have to do extra math. You don't have to find the perimeter, find the base. You can just substitute. That's what's so great about the cylinder. Everybody always gets a cylinder, right? So we're going to have our formula up there. Surface area of cylinder is 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. I just have to substitute. We know r is the radius. So here's my r, and we know h is the height. But there's the height of my cylinder. There's no thinking. I can just substitute everything in. And I'm going to use 3.14 for pi. But everything just plugs in. I will say, when you're using a calculator, you want to do the second power first and then multiply the rest and then add. So this turns into that one, and all of that turns into that, and we add it, and we get 2,813.5 feet squared. All right, so in our final one, find the lateral area. Well, we're not finding lateral area, so let's cancel that out. Find the surface area of the cylinder and round to the nearest tenth. So hopefully you've done it, but here's my example. That's A, radius, height, substitute, and you get your answer. All right, so I hope this is easy for you. If you need me, please send out a message, Zoom. This is your lesson for the week. You will probably have a worksheet and hopefully a con. We'll see if they have any good cons that we can do on surface area. I will send out another video next week. We are almost done with the school year, so it is almost over. So you guys take care of yourselves, and hopefully if anybody needs help, please send a message through your Google Classroom, remind, or email me. Can't see you soon, but hopefully I'll send out another lesson video. Have a great, wonderful week.